tracking the midichlorians.
The midichlorian count.
Which, wait, did Anakin have more or less than Master Yoda? He had more, right?
He had more.
No, I think he said. Oh, that's
It's
right. 'cause
almost as
Qui-Gon
high
said
as
almost
Master Yoda.
Something
so
like
Yoda's
that,
would be
yeah.
higher, right?
So I'm
think-
just pumping this out live right now, so
Oh. Are we
careful
live
with
right now?
Yeah, we're live right now.
Wait, why did you be careful with language?
Because the children, Christian.
What
The
children?
children.
The children who are interested in Baby Yoda.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
exactly.
Fine.
Yeah, actually.
Fine.
So YouTube does this thing now where you have to like age restrict your video.
Yeah.
And
That's new. People
yeah.
are very upset about
well, I've
that.
marked hours not suitable for children because
Smart.
we swear like fucking crazy.
Well, I wouldn't say we swear like crazy, but we're not.
What is that noise?
That's trash.
That's trash.
No. Somebody's bringing that trash can back.
Oh. Not like my take is trash because that would have been rude, Christian.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do what I can.
Wow.
I was literally something's falling downstairs, or I don't know what that is.
There's
That's
a
really-
body
was like-
falling down the stairs. Oh my God, he's dead.
I do know someone printed the Baby Yoda already.
Really?
The free file.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
The free file.
yeah.
Somebody made it and said, like, you can print it for free, but give back, like, during the holidays. Give a meal or whatever.
Oh, so the reason I brought up is Mandalorian 501st, because if someone was smart, they would be, and they have this little baby, they would dress up as Mandalorian, and they would make their
The
baby
Baby Yoda.
Yoda.
I'm sure we're
That'd
going
be
to see.
incredible.
Are you kidding? How many are we going to see at Celebration?
I'm going to take the
Let's
under
do the over-under of
50.
50.
50. I'm going to take
50
the
original Mandalorians with Baby Yoda.
At
Baby
Celebration?
Yoda's a
I'm gonna take-
Mandos? No, I'm going to say 75. That's going to be the main.
I'm
so
gonna
you're
take-
taking the over then.
Yeah, because
Over
Rise
50.
of Skywalker, we've already seen all the costumes, with
That's
the
true.
exception of a few characters.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to take the under, only because I think it might be a bit difficult.
To make the Mando armor?
At both. I think for
No
both.
way.
They're
I mean,
already in production. People are
Yeah.
selling them like crazy.
It's going to be super expensive, though, right?
I mean,
I don't know. It depends on which one you do. Are you going to do the first version that we see in episode 1? Or are you going to see him with all his new...
Oh, so for me, I personally love the episode 1, like the really beat up stuff.
Before he gets
Yeah,
the
oh,
one?
yeah.
Or do you want the one, like, cool... What do they call
Oh,
them?
yeah, the one,
The
Pauldron?
pauldrons. Do you want
Yeah.
the one silver pauldron and everything
Yep.
else all goopy?
Yep.
Or-
Oh, it's
Goofy.
so great.
I mean, he gets covered in mud and everything else.
so are we
later,
gonna
so
call
they're
this like what
goopy.
pre-shiny,
Oh, yeah, like
pre-shine, like pre-blind Canaan?
like pre-blind and post-blind Kanan.
Pre-Black Friday.
There you go. There you go.
Yes.
Before he bought everything, and he's like, "I have the money."
Oh my God.
You should have the beat up one. He has like a Walmart bag, like an empty Walmart bag.
I
He's like
mean,
about to go shopping.
Let's be honest. How many of us hold on to our old armor just in case, even though you have the new shiny armor? You're like,
That's
"I'm
true.
Just gonna have it right there.
I mean, that's what that thing is for. I mean, I haven't worn that.
I mean, it's
in
a
year
classic.
and a half at least.
It is the classic.
It
It's
is.
good
I
to
should
have.
clean that up. Actually, I'm being super disrespectful.
He
Anyway,
looks very chill in the corner, though.
yeah,
He's
he
just
is.
like
He's just chilling
kind
there.
of leaning
creepy.
halfway.
We've actually thought about putting someone in there and trying to scare someone. So let's say we'll put me in there, and then Juno will come in. Like, he thinks he's alone in here while he's playing video games, and then I just come out and...
That's a big commitment, though, because you
Yeah.
can't move in that thing. And once you move, it's clunk, clunk, clack,
Yeah,
clink,
yeah,
clink,
that's true.
clink, clink.
That's true.
I mean, the
Very true.
commitment needed would be huge, but
Yeah.
I think the payoff's worth it.
Payoff
Like,
might
when-
be
when
worth it
we-
if we're live streaming.
Yeah, when we forced our junior to watch it,
Yeah.
chapter 1, like he'd never seen, we stuck a heart monitor to him. We did a
I
live
remember
stream.
that.
Yeah, I think
We
talked
should have put somebody in the costume
Yeah.
then. That would have like
someone in Pennywise. more
that
than
would yeah
likely.
something. We would have like blown his heart. It would have been great. Good content. I mean, I
It
would.
can still happen.
That's true.
Can still happen.
I will start the recording soon for the podcast. We're gonna wait for
Soon
these
as we wait
people
for
to
the-
stop making noise
Who
outside.
knows how long that's gonna take?
That's a
Yeah.
good
Are
point.
we actually streaming right now?
Yeah, we're live on
Oh, we are.
everything. Yeah,
Oh.
we're on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube.
Oh, well,
I've
hopefully
never
they know
done
what we're doing.
Twitch.
Oh, Twitch.
We are
Twitch.
live. We're going to talk about Mandalorian season 4, episode 4.
Episode
Episode
four.
Episode 4.
Could you imagine if it was
Excited.
already on season 4?
Check it out. We're streaming live right now. I don't know.
Perfect.
I don't have enough followers, so I can't put a link like direct.
Yeah, swipe up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You got to do what, 10,000 or something
Jesus.
before you do that?
You know what's funny is like once you meet the criteria,
gonna
most
go up.
likely they'll change it to like, oh, now you need 100,000.
50,000.
Now you need 100,000 and $100.
You want to get a laugh anytime Amazon influencers requested pops up like that ad.
Yeah.
Just read the comments. Oh, it's a popularity contest. You have to have so many followers. Oh, I could totally sell for you. You just read the comments and it's like, God, don't be bitter.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, people follow you or they don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's not
And if
much
they
you can
don't,
do about
well, yeah, work on yourself. Maybe I don't know. Do something.
Do some promotion.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this podcast for real. I'm going to start recording. Wow.
Actually, maybe not.
Literally at the worst time possible.
I'm wondering if they're getting rid of all of like their Thanksgiving trash right now.
Maybe.
Is trash day today?
No, it's
for you guys?
Saturday.
You mean
Today
Friday.
is Saturday.
Yeah, they don't pick up trash.
But
on
remember, though,
Oh.
because of the holiday, they might have pushed it
Oh,
back
they
a
might
day.
skip a day.
Oh.
So you guys might want to put your trash out.
Nah, it's fine.
It's too late now.
It's silent out there. Okay, we're going to record now for real.
Ooh.
All right, here we go.
And then
All right, here's my boss. Natalie, how do you pronounce your last name again?
Benavides.
So I'm just going to go with Natalie.
Not hard to say. Yours is
Benavides.
harder.
It definitely is, but this is the internet. We should keep everything clean and safe. I'm doing this for
Safe?
your safety, everyone's safety. All right, here we go. Everyone's watching and paying attention.
I'm not.
Stop
I'm looking at the screen.
Don't look at me. Was The Mandalorian Episode 4 Sanctuary good? I'm your host, Ravi, joined by one brother, Krishna. Arjuna thought Paris would be cooler than doing this podcast. We also have a very special guest, Natalie.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
joining us. Natalie, what brings you to this part of the galaxy? Oh, wow. I did that.
What brings me to this part of the galaxy? Your invitation?
There we go. Exactly.
Perfect.
I had nothing better to do on a Saturday. I don't know.
Oh,
We're off to a great
we're
start.
Fun.
We're off to a
This
great
is
start.
Fun. This is fun. We're enjoying camaraderie in Star Wars. So that's what brought me.
Yeah. What makes you? What is your history with Star Wars?
Oh, good God. Okay. Yeah, I'm
Loaded
old
question.
for most people, I think. I don't know. I was born in 80, so I actually remember my father taking me to see Return of the Jedi when I was 3.
Oh, damn.
You
and
remember that?
Yeah, but the only thing I remember is just like the Ewoks on screen, and it's just like a flicker. Like I see the Ewok, and that's it. Like I don't remember anything else, but I remember the Ewoks.
Wow.
So I was old enough to see it originally in theaters, and
Damn.
that kind of took off from there. And then my aunt was babysitting me when I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8, and she said, "You're gonna watch Star Wars. You're gonna like it. There's a princess in there, and she's bossy and says things, and she's just like you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I realized, yeah, she is.
yeah.
Dang.
So
and
yeah,
then
it's
it
like
progressed from there.
your formative foundation for who you are is like Star Wars. It sounds like.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, so
That's crazy.
it's a little important to you.
A little bit.
A little
yeah.
bit?
I mean, high school was when I was in high school. God, I feel old. Episode 1 came out my senior year.
Ah,
And
the
I-
greatest Star Wars film
Yes.
ever.
Wow. Oh no.
And I played Wookie Hookie.
Wookie
Oh.
Hookie.
Did you never hear
That
that
was a
phrase?
term. No,
no,
that's-
no.
That
We were
was-
too young for that.
I mean, Twitter would be Wookie Hookie like
Yeah.
crazy, but everybody would call out of school, call out of work. Oh, I'm sick.
Wow.
I can't come in. And, everybody was seeing Phantom Menace
That's amazing.
that day. So,
Wookie
Wow.
Hookie.
yeah, it was funny because I remember my geography, history, whatever teacher was like, "Oh, the final's going to be on the same day that the movie comes out." And I was like, "I won't be here. Can I take the final early?" And she goes, "Why aren't you going to be here?" And I was like, "Star
Family
Wars."
emergency.
No, I was honest. I
Oh.
said Star Wars, and she says, "You're kidding." I'm like, "No, I won't be here." And she let me take it early. So,
Oh, amazing.
kudos to Mrs. Smith, I think was her name.
I mean, to be fair, I'm taking off the Thursday when Rise of Skywalker comes out. I already told my boss that I'm working from home that day.
Yeah, I took that off
So-
as well.
Well, it's not till 7 o'clock, so it wouldn't really matter.
Well, I have a tradition with Star Wars where I like to watch the
Marathon it.
kind of marathon some of the movies that I care about.
Wow.
So when
So like 2.
basically, I mean, I'm definitely
Empire and
I'll probably start with Empire.
Force Awakens.
I'll probably have Revenge of Sith on, and then
Okay.
I'll have Last Jedi on in the background while I do something else,
yeah,
just to remember what's going on, and
play
that's
that
about
on
it.
silent.
Seriously. That was-
Side note: I saw Knives Out. Very good movie.
Same here. Very good movie.
Have not seen it.
You should.
It's very different. I liked it. I really
Okay.
did. So
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's
I
a
was
good
on the fence.
filmmaker.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
Anyway, we're talking Star Wars: The Mandalorian, Episode 4, Sanctuary. Wow, English is hard. As we usually do, we start off with kind of our one-word impressions of the episode, what we thought would be a good one word to kind of encapsulate the entire episode. Natalie, you're the guest, so Christian will go first.
Wow.
I like that.
You see, yeah,
I like how that works.
I love
Is it
doing
because
that.
I'm a woman?
Whoa! Oh no!
Christian, hurry up and give me that one-word impression.
Okay, so my word impression for episode 4 is going to be weaker. And the only reason I'm going to use the word weaker is the first 3 episodes in my mind were so good. The bar was set so high. In fact, if you go back and look to any of the podcasts, I couldn't stop gushing about those things. And episode 4, still great, but when I compare it to the first 3 episodes, it's a little bit weaker. Now, that doesn't mean it's not important. I think it's a very necessary episode. There's still obviously amazing moments, but if I'm looking at the overall trajectory, I think we're hitting, it feels like that mid-season slump that most shows
Do we have 4
go
episodes
through.
left?
Yeah. It's like that mid-season, like we've like the rising action, and now we're part of
Getting
like
into the
that.
climax and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. So we gotta like reset the action, reset the expectations for the final rising.
Would you
climax.
say it's kind of like mid-season blues? Because, like, regardless of it being Star Wars or anything, traditionally within television and series, around this middle point is kind of when you're like, do something else. I'm getting bored.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say
Because
that.
we're right at the midpoint
Yeah.
of the season.
Bored is a strong word.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
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 But
I think maybe what you're trying to say is that we've seen sort of like this thread, right,
Yeah.
throughout, and it's like one singular thread, like the Mandalorian and his developing relationship with Baby Yoda and what he's doing with him and how he's changed toward him. That seems like that's like the through line, and we've been on that storyline now for 4 episodes, so it's like it needs to kind of change or evolve to kind of keep the same level of interest of when you first were introduced to them, perhaps. And I think it has. I think it did evolve in this episode.
Yeah.
Clearly, but again, just the first 3 episodes were so mind-blowing to me that this one, to me, was just a little bit weaker.
damn.
Yeah.
Natalie, what would you say your one-word impression is?
Fatherhood.
Fatherhood. That's a good one.
That is a
I
good
just loved seeing the relationship of them evolve, and even when the baby's like pushing the button, like testing dad, I'm gonna
Being a
push it
dick.
again.
one. So cute.
He's so adorable. Like, you stay in the ship. I'm gonna go with you. Like, he's so cute.
How does
How does he move that quick?
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, because he
Like-
waddles when you see him,
Yeah.
and he's able to keep up. That's
Yeah.
odd.
I mean, I guess look at Yoda, right? Yoda is obviously he's what 3'5" or something, like 3'5".
I think
or
maybe
something?
shorter
Like,
than that.
maybe
actually.
shorter than that.
He's pretty
yeah.
tiny.
But he
Yeah.
moves very, very fast. I mean, we saw him in episode 2. Obviously, he was jumping around like a nut job,
Like a monkey.
Yeah.
like a monkey.
spider monkey.
Real quick side note: I don't know if you saw this. Somebody recut episode 2,
Oh.
With
that fight scene,
Duel of the Fates.
not with Duel of
Oh.
the Fates, where basically it's Yoda beating up and murdering Obi-Wan and Anakin instead of it being Count Dooku, and it's great.
Oh my God, I haven't seen
Like,
that.
they
I don't
take
know
the-
if I
the
wanna
shot-
see it or not.
They take the shot of where
Yeah.
Count Dooku like shoots electrical whatever at Yoda, and they reverse it so it looks like he's shooting it out at them. Like, oh, it's a marvelous piece of like really good editing.
And we'll
so
get
props
to that
whoever
later in
did
the
that.
episode, right? Like the internet sensation that
Oh
Baby
yeah,
Yoda
Yes.
has
oh
become.
yeah,
So.
big time. That's
We
one of
have
our.
to.
That's on our outline here. So.
Gino would be so proud.
He would be very proud. Do you think he's watching us in Paris?
No, well, I hope not.
With the time change, maybe not.
It's
Should be
like
Should we be eating croissants?
well,
or
it's
should
only
be in
like
bed?
7:00 there, so
Oh, he's probably at dinner.
yeah,
A
that's true.
romantic dinner.
Vegetarian
Ooh.
dinner.
Ew.
In Pa-
Having
wait,
a
you
glass
go to
of wine.
yeah, right. So my one-word impression, I do this every time. I don't have it. I haven't figured it out. Just gonna keep talking until something comes to me. I'm gonna go with colorful.
Okay.
Oh.
It's kind of like if a 3rd grader was trying to come up with a.
Thank you.
It was so colorful.
He was on the fly. That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I say colorful is because if you look at the color palette of this episode compared to the first 3,
others, yeah.
the first 3 are very desert, brown, grungy, grossy.
This one's very green.
This one's very green and blue.
And
Their
teal.
shrimp are blue, which,
Mm.
by the way, is PETA looking at this. They clearly dyed shrimp blue. That's animal cruelty.
Mhm.
Wow.
Bad joke. I know. I'll move on.
Trying to get Star Wars in trouble?
Yeah, big
How
time.
could you?
But yeah, colorful is what I would say the color palette was. I would also move it towards kind of like how our main character, the Mandalorian, also was portrayed. We got a lot more of him from kind of I don't want to say like an emotional standpoint, but he was definitely a bit more interesting this time around because he's giving us more history, especially on the whole helmet and that whole ideology and that whole thing. And him even saying like, yeah, no one has seen my face
Since
since
he was a kid.
I was a kid. And this is kind of where I want to gear the conversation is because we are being introduced to the Mandalorian. We're also being introduced to Mandalorians that follow a pretty strict, I would say, code and all that fun stuff, especially when you compared in the new canon, the Disney canon, to the Mandalorians that we're familiar with from Star Wars, the Clone Wars series, and Star Wars Rebels, which were both created by Dave Filoni, who's also kind of co-creating, co-consulting on Mandalorian. The reason I bring this up is the biggest thing is those Mandalorians that we see, they're running around with their helmets on and off like crazy. Even in episode 2, Jango, helmet gone. You know, what do we think this group of Mandalorians and the Mandalorian are? Are they from that same group of people? Are they some kind of extremists? What do we think is happening here?
So if I had to guess, this group of Mandalorians is very different from that group, as in this is a post-Empire group of Mandalorians. And we know that Darth Sidious wanted to wipe out the Mandalorians because he saw them as the second biggest threat after the Jedi. So I would think that the keeping of the helmet on is it's like a safety tactic. It's like keeping your identity.
There you go.
Like
you
in
know.
Watchmen.
Yeah. Actually, think of the Watchmen. Exactly.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
don't want.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm good.
You know. I get in this galaxy. I don't know what the facial recognition technology
I mean,
is
sure,
like,
yeah.
but
Did they
I'm
pass
thinking.
did they pass their law?
Yeah. It's like if they see their face, I don't know if they can put them into a database and find their family and whatever. But I would think and it could also be an intimidation factor. Maybe it's like this group wants to maintain their toughness and their intimidation level, and what better way to do that than almost seeing like not even human, right? Like you're just
A machine.
killing machine,
Yeah.
kind of like a Terminator.
Wow.
That's it. That's all I got.
Well, it's also interesting. The other thing that's fascinating with Mandalorians, and then it goes like what? Mandalorians, Jango Fett, then you have the Clone Army, then you have Stormtroopers. I bring this up because Mandalorians, with their armor, it's a sign of your skill, right? Like what your worth is. The Mandalorian, our main character, we see him in the grunge outfit, episodes 1 and 2, and then he gets all shiny come episode 3 because he's done this great bounty, this great thing, whatever. And it's very personalized to you. While when we take the clones, we have clones in a particular armor, but as the war rages on, they made it more individual color schemes. And then the time the Empire comes around, they're all in the white, and they're kind of back to like wearing the same thing. So I think it is to a degree intimidating, but then also I think it's intimidating for the individual as opposed to like intimidating from like an imperial sense where it's like you've got a whole army of the same looking people. If that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
Or it could just be the people who survived the Empire, the Mandos who survived the Empire. Like, we saw what our elders did, and we're going to step away from that, and we're going to create a whole new set of rules. So then these people and these Mandos are we're going to follow the rules to the letter. This is the way, and all that stuff. And that could be, where this is going. I don't know.
I mean, the other thing, too, is they could be maybe not creating a whole new set of rules, but kind of going back to the old way, but to the beginning. But then my question would be, because we, in the Clone Wars, I was actually watching a couple of Mandalorian episodes last night from the series, and it is canon that the Mandalorians did bring the Jedi to, the brink of extinction, right? They did have that war. That's all canon. So I have to wonder, are the Mandalorians being raised to hate the Jedi, or is that such a who cares about the Jedi that's way like not in? Because remember, he saw Baby Yoda pick up the giant rhino,
and he didn't know what was
and
going
he didn't
on.
understand. He didn't understand what he saw. So I wonder if they've also forgotten what the Force is, the Jedi, and all that fun stuff is.
Well, there are really no Jedi that we're aware of because it's after the Purge.
It's a myth, right? Like it's
The
like
Jedi
a
are the myth.
legend.
Like what Rey says, you know,
Yeah.
I thought they were all gone
Yeah.
or whatever.
Also, I think 2 points as well. I think the biggest, the more recent concern for them is obviously the Empire, and second, we already know, or at least we've been able to guess that the Mandalorian himself he's a foundling. He's not an actual Mandalorian. He has been
He was
raised in that
saved.
culture,
Yeah.
but he had a culture before that. So even if he was raised to hate the Jedi, it's not going to be deeply ingrained.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah.
even if there was. But again, I think it's probably closer to they're a legend, they're a myth. The Empire is the real threat. Don't take jobs from the Empire. They're the enemy.
I mean, other than the baby, there's been no Force shown at all.
Yeah,
So-
it's true.
Yes.
The Force.
Which is maybe why what's his name wants it. Werner Herzog was
Yeah.
the actor, but
Yeah, yeah. But honestly,
I
though,
always remember the actor's name. I don't remember the character's
that's
name.
what we've been calling him too. We're like Herzog.
I just love his accent, and bounty hunting is a very difficult profession.
Complicated
Podcasting is a complicated profession.
Pod racing. Oh no.
It would seem your reputation is accurate.
Why there been
How-
more memes on that guy?
There should be everything on that guy. He's way more memeable than that green
No,
thing.
No, that's false.
crossing the line right
That's,
there.
that's my hot take. So obviously this is episode 4 of, and forgive me, it's eight episodes. So we're halfway there.
Yeah.
Like, what has been kind of the specific? Let's start with this episode. What's kind of the highlight? Like, we've got this character, Cara Dune, played by,
Gina Carano,
thank you, who is a former.
MMA and,
Fighter.
I think-
she used to be a gladiator too.
Oh wow.
Oh wow! So she's a badass.
She's been on television, and yeah, she can kick everyone's
I mean, she was in
ass.
Deadpool.
Yes, yep.
That's
She
right.
was
in
in
Deadpool. Yeah.
the one movie that did really bad. Stephen Sondheim directed it. Stephen Sommers. What? Not the composer. The other one.
Oh,
The director.
Ooh, can-
Haywire.
Haywire.
Haywire. Channing Tatum was in it. A couple others.
Oh boy. So her character's introduced on this backwater farming planet.
Yes.
You know, we're following kind of what I call the Western tale, or you know,
Yes.
the classic
Magnificent Seven.
like Magnificent Seven tale of, like, you know, big strong people come in, help the crying little villagers and arm them up. This also
Crying
reminded me
villagers.
of a.
Some of them were.
This
Yeah.
also reminded me of a Clone Wars episode where there's a couple of times where, like, Anakin and Ahsoka are crashed on some planet and they have to help the locals fend against pirates with Hondu and all those fun people. So it's very kind of in that realm of, like, Western and, like, helping the little guys. But, like, what was for you guys? Like, what did you enjoy from the episode? And to start, you cannot say the child / Baby Yoda.
That's fair.
I'll
That's-
start
Thank you.
because I would say Baby Yoda, but he's been consistent. So
Yes.
I'm not. I'm actually going to go to what I and many people have been saying. Second one directed by a woman in the Star Wars universe, huge, Bryce Dallas Howard. So and then next was we finally get Cara. We finally get a strong female lead. Kicking butt, you know, doing her own thing, kicking his butt, as you see, like she's kicking his ass.
Using
in
those
that movie.
MMA moves.
Yeah, I mean, she threw
Like,
him.
legit.
Yeah, judo.
You gotta wonder. I think that was probably a stunt double that she was throwing
Throwing
and
around?
I don't think Pedro was.
I don't
in
think
there.
here's my Pedro has not been. We haven't seen him on screen at all. It's just his voice.
That's true. It could be somebody else completely, and he's just voiceover the whole time.
I mean,
Wow.
they
But,
did
Then
that
he
for
lied.
they did that for Vader. It
Yeah.
wasn't what's his name?
But he specifically comments that he studied like Clint Eastwood to get the mannerisms down. You know.
Well, but also he's a fighter from Game of Thrones. He was the Red Viper.
That's
so
true.
I
Yeah.
mean, he's
He can move.
physical.
he
yeah.
can do it. He can do it.
Yeah. So I would say those two, and then we also had I don't know what the name is of the mom, the one that he's in love with or whatever.
yeah.
That was a little. I'm like, don't put a love story in there. Really? No. That was the only part I didn't like. But I did like the other parts.
Yeah. Nice.
The women.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. I would say my favorite part of this was the depiction of the AT-AT.
It was an ATST, I thought.
ATST. I always
Yeah.
get the two mixed up.
It's the slight difference in the shape
yeah.
is my understanding.
Oh, okay.
In the front, right?
Fun
in the nose.
fact. The ATST came around before the AT-AT. Let me just push up my nerd glasses real quick.
Oh my god.
But do you know the difference? All-terrain armored transport,
And then all-terrain something transport.
something
Strengths.
transport.
There, that works. I worried.
Something transport, yeah.
We're the Galactic Empire. We couldn't figure out the S, so we came up with
With
something.
something.
Yeah. So
Something dark side.
something dark side.
So to me, I really like the depiction of it because it's a salvaged AT.
It looked like it was
ATST,
salvaged, yeah.
Um,
And the
so
eyes
the
were red?
the eyes were
Yeah.
red, which means like the lighting inside. They were using some kind of cool disco like red lighting, you know.
There's a
like
disco
red light.
ball in there.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know.
They were like partying there where they like blast.
They're like, why are you running away?
Yeah.
We're trying to have a party.
And it was cool because all the shots of it were from this like low angle from the
Yeah.
ground level, and I thought that just really added to its like its
Horror.
menacing,
Yeah.
like So I really liked that that part of it. It wasn't my favorite, but you've already taken my favorite, so I
Sorry.
can't.
You
I can't say it
you
again.
can back me up on it, and having
Yeah.
strong women and women
Oh, yeah.
directing and
Yeah, and also I wanted more from Gina. I wanted to
Carano.
see more from what's the character's name?
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune.
I wanted to see more just because she's interesting.
She's back.
The fact, and she will be back, yeah. But the fact also that she's a rebel shock trooper, right? And I thought when she said shock trooper, my mind immediately went to Imperial. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting, you know. Like, Imperials can flip sides, or, you know, there isn't really a side. There's this war and people, there's, like, victims, you know, whatever. But she's a rebel shock trooper, which to me is very interesting because the rebellion, at least in the original trilogy, are portrayed as this, like, ragtag, you know, they can barely arm themselves. They wear, like jackets instead of any kind of armor.
Armor,
Yep.
yeah.
You know, they have that like rinky-dink helmet.
That's a cool helmet.
it's
Don't you dare. I
a
have
big, it's
that
a big ass
helmet.
helmet. It's a big ass helmet. You know, so the idea of the rebellion, or I guess maybe it's the Republic, right?
But she explained it that she was tired of escorting dignitaries and
Right.
whatever.
Post Death Star 2.
Yeah, after the fall.
But it lends to this idea, though, that perhaps the Republic borrowed some stuff from the Empire, right?
Oh no
The idea
doubt.
of a shock troop. So to me, that's very interesting, right? It's almost like, you know, that's just an interesting idea to play with.
It would be
You
interesting. to-
become the very thing you hate,
yeah.
you know, in that kind of a way.
And I
At
think
least
that's
there's,
kind
like,
of
some steps
but
to
that's
it.
been alluded to because was it
Constantly.
episode 2 or episode 3 when the Mando is talking to Apollo Creed. That's what I'm gonna call him.
Yep.
When he was talking to
Giancarlo.
when he was talking to him, he says, "Well, you can go and complain to the New Republic," and everyone was like, "Ha, that's a joke."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of alluded like this new thing post the Rebel Alliance is called the New Republic, and it's clear that kind of a joke.
Mhm.
And it's also clear like number one, what's very interesting with her character is she was this rebel shock trooper. She's like hardcore SWAT kind of going in. Her main function was to go and get rid of warlords and then go and clean up any extra warlords post or post Death Star 2. Then her job was riot control. Why
Oh.
would you need riot control if you guys are the good guys?
Right.
Obviously, ex-Imperials don't like the change in
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So there's definitely like a dark side, I think,
Yeah.
to this New Republic order, and things have been hinted at throughout. Even with episode 7,
Yep.
Leia left the
Yep.
New Republic.
Starts a whole new thing.
She starts a whole new thing called the Resistance. Clearly, there's something else like
Yeah.
happening
Not
Clearly, the
Worded.
Republic is not
Yeah.
all it's cracked up.
So I think it's like, yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like we're being hinted as like this new thing, the New Republic or whatever, was not so great. The other fact too is that she went AWOL, and somebody has put a bounty out for her. Because she even says to the Mando, "Oh, I thought you were looking for the bounty for me."
Yeah.
Which means like.
She's done some stuff.
Not actually that she's done some stuff. I think it's just strictly you went AWOL. It's from like a military perspective. When you go AWOL, they
want you back.
They want you back
So they're
to serve
paying
out.
you.
Yeah. So I don't think this New Republic is all that it's cracked up to be.
Perhaps. Yeah.
But it's only been 5 years, give or take.
Yeah, that
so
new government's
take.
always
they're
struggle.
still
Yeah.
I mean, we can
figuring it out.
unfortunately we can look at like real world
Politics.
examples where it's like a
Yeah.
government, America, comes in, does whatever, and then the country's in complete chaos for X amount of time, and
Until it settles down.
and imagine that on a galactic scale. See
Yeah.
what I did there?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Okay. But yeah, my real quick, my highlight was definitely I think the Cara Dune character and
She said specifically it's Cara.
Cara.
Oh, Cara,
Cara
okay,
Dune.
And she
Cara.
said that Filoni and Favreau and everybody else always pronounced it Cara, and it's wrong. And she said, it's wrong. I'm telling you, it's Cara. Like, she said it in a Q&A. It was really funny. I was
Interesting.
like, oh,
Very interesting.
good for her.
She's like, this is what the character is now.
The character's spoken.
Directing is a very complicated profession. Um,
Oh no.
so yeah, my highlight's definitely going to be her character and kind of that backstory.
Side note, I'm also curious to compare her armor to Shock Troopers.
Yes.
Once we ever,
What was
Once
stolen.
we see it.
yeah.
No, I've seen her armor. We've seen her armor.
The stuff that she was wearing, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's not
Oh, I meant,
necessarily the
um,
rebel shock trooper full armor.
Yeah,
Oh, we
we-
don't have.
There's no pictures.
There's
Oh.
nothing.
We were looking it up, and
Yeah.
we couldn't find any.
So if you go and those listening, watching, if you have a picture or concept, please definitely hit us up at Was It Good on Twitter. Love to see what that kind of looks like because when I went on Wikipedia and
We can't
and
find
typed
it.
there's
There's
nothing except
Yeah.
members, Cara Dune, and that's it.
She was a one-person army.
She's
She
delusional.
Can be. She's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? That's the twist. She's delusional. She created this entire infantry group.
Whoa!
They're
and
all
my
behind
Shyamalan.
That would be.
The twist.
They're all behind me.
Oh my god, that would be messed up.
She like charges
What
in
are
all
you
by
talking
herself.
about?
Yeah.
There's no one there.
Yeah, my army.
Okay, so obviously we've hit on Cara Dune, big time. That was definitely one of the interesting things with the Rebel Shock Trooper. The other area that I kind of want to talk about is social media. Social media and Star Wars. I would say in the last 3-4 years since Disney bought Star
Since
Wars,
TFA.
it has dictated quite a bit in terms of the general public's view of Star Wars content. And what I mean by that is if we go back to Episode 7, if you guys can remember what Twitter was like, what was that, like 4 years ago now? Yeah, 4 years ago,
4
right?
years.
About
Yeah.
4 years. Twitter was very kind of, the big overarching message from Twitter and Episode 7 was, it's a remake of A New Hope, it's good, it's nostalgia, yay, excited, blah, 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 blah. Then we get Rogue One. Some of us at this table may have left the theater and shed a tear after they saw Rogue One. Because
And he blamed it on the rain.
I blamed it on the rain.
It was actually
rain. It
raining.
was a
On the
raining.
It was like-
rain.
Yeah.
It's the rain, guy.
I was very upset. And looking back at it, I'm like, it was a movie. Like, grow up. But once again, Twitter wasn't super, super kind. They memified, I would say, Rogue One like crazy. Episode 8 was probably the lowest in Twitter Star Wars history.
Massacred.
It was just
It was interesting.
harassment galore. It was bad. It gave Star Wars fans. Star Wars was just very, very dark.
A lot of people like that movie.
A lot of people like that movie, but the thing is,
I
like,
did.
with any kind of like opinion or whatever,
Yeah.
whoever is screaming the loudest is what like the general consensus is gonna be. That's what you're gonna remember,
Yeah.
right? And when you look at
Sure.
Episode 8 and you look
The
at
backlash was
the
tough,
backlash
for
was
sure.
bad,
Yeah.
so bad that it affected
Clearly divided.
Yeah.
super divided. It affected Han Solo or Solo, the
Yeah.
Solo film.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
because
Solo's
that
great.
that was a good, generally a good film. There were a couple of issues here and there, but overall it was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Very
it.
fun movie.
I had fun. And Twitter was kind of, if I remember correctly, it was kind of in this confused, weird state. Whereas like we were all assholes during Episode 8. Maybe we should be quiet. Box office numbers are media companies are jumping and giving opinions. So it's just kind of like a bleh.
They also released it 5 months after
Episode
Last
8,
Jedi.
yeah.
So
That was dumb.
that
Yeah.
was stupid. And then we had
Yeah,
no
poor
Star Wars
planning.
movie in December.
Yeah.
Right.
It was
They
bad
shoulda
planning.
just waited. The marketing was crap. I mean,
Yeah.
It was bad. And Twitter was just kind of neutral on it. And then we haven't had anything until now with The Mandalorian. So The Mandalorian has come out. Episode 1 came out. And it ends with this Baby Yoda looking creature. And Twitter and the internet, social media took that and went crazy.
Batshit insane.
Batshit crazy, where that has been the primary focus
for the
And
last month.
for the
Yeah.
last month, to the point where we just finished Episode 4, and instead of seeing articles talking about Cara Dune's character or talking about The Mandalorian, we're seeing articles pop up with, here's your new memes of the week for Baby
Yeah.
Yoda.
Where's the merch for Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
There's always the question of where's the merch, and we'll definitely get to that. But do we think this thing, Baby Yoda, is it's potentially taking away, or it's getting too much attention, especially on the social side, compared to other aspects of the show? Do we think that's going to hurt things?
I'm going to say no, and because the articles for those other things actually do exist. They're there. I've read them. They're just buried under the, the very lovable Baby Yoda. And to me, what it feels like is that the Baby Yoda stuff is like a really nice parallel. I think you can almost look at it as not two separate things, but two different things. You can have two different conversations. You can have a conversation about the Mandalorian. And, Baby Yoda in that context, what does force powers mean? And is he a reincarnation? Is he a clone? What is he?
Yeah.
And what's going on here? And then, you know what? Let's have some fun. Here are all the adorable things that he's done, and how do I implant this into every aspect of culture that I can? And I think both of those things can exist simultaneously, and I think they have for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, one's getting more attention than the other, but I don't think that's a bad thing. It might get annoying to maybe us because we are generally interested in the lore and the culture and the history of Star Wars. But I think for the most part, and we're only 4 episodes in, who knows?
Right.
The opinion might change, but I think right now it exists as a nice parallel.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Natalie?
I don't know. I definitely think it's I don't know how to call it, but just for all the people in Europe who haven't seen it.
Oh, they
That's
haven't?
right.
Yeah. Disney Plus does not drop for them until January.
Something
February?
weird like that.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're seeing all of this stuff on Twitter about Baby Yoda
It's ruined.
primarily, so they're going to go in with a preconceived notion of this creature and have no,
Wow.
backstory to anything else unless they've seen it. So I think in that way social media is destroying their enjoyment
Their innocence.
of what's happening.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
Did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, Disney made that choice. I'm not sure why
That's
they
kind of-
did that.
That's
but-
kind of messed up, actually.
Yeah.
On
If you're
multiple
gonna
levels.
drop something at this point,
I mean, I'm
we're
sure
a
it's
very global thing now.
Yeah.
So just do it all at once.
It's being streamed illegally over there. I'm sure of it.
Has to be. Yeah.
I mean,
Jinx,
and
jinx,
why why Disney, is letting that when they could be making the money, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I do think that's sabotaging.
I'm sure it's antitrust laws or some kind of digital law, some garbage or something.
possibly licensing with some of the
Yeah.
movies on Disney Plus. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the main thing. I don't even really see as Yoda, baby, whatever.
The child.
The child.
Baby Yoda.
He's definitely part of the story.
Yeah.
He's already changed the Mando so much.
Yep.
I wouldn't say. I don't know if he's changed the Mando. I think through Baby Yoda, we're getting a more rich and interesting character. If there wasn't something cute and innocent that we can relate to or we remember from the original series, let's pretend it was.
Baby Jabba.
Well, not Roy.
Well, no, not even that. But let's
Baby
pretend.
Jabba. That could be really cute too.
I'm just gonna make a terrible kind of what if type thing. What if he had the plans for a Starkiller base, and he's running through the galaxy and he's protecting that,
Yeah.
and this is a big thing. He needs to get it to this new group called the Resistance to help prep them, and this is all preempt. If it was something like that, I don't think anyone would give a fuck. I think everyone would be like, "Oh, yay, it's Rogue One," or it's an inanimate thing, so you don't really care. And you wouldn't get this kind of more interesting character.
It would require then the Mandalorian to carry the show all by himself. And
Yeah.
as much as I love the Mandalorian, he probably can't because you can't see his face.
Yeah, that was the big
It would
thing
be
for
tough.
me.
It would be really tough. So
As you mentioned, we don't even know if Pedro's really in that costume
yeah,
half the time.
it's true. It's true.
It's Oscar Isaacs because they're best friends and they like to play
Uh,
pranks on people.
Wait, are they really?
Did you
pretty
see them?
good friends.
Did you see them in that terrible movie that you love so much?
Oh yeah, Triple Frontier. Great
Or,
movie. You should check it out.
They did an interview for Wired, I think.
Yes, and
They're hilarious.
they're clearly
Oh,
wasted off their ass or on something.
Good for them.
I'm sure they've just had a long day of interviews, and they're like, "Give us a brew" or whatever,
Yeah.
and then they just start back and forthing it. And and Oscar Isaac's like, "Hi, I'm Pedro Pascal," and then Oscar's like, So
Amazing.
It's a really fun interview.
Star Wars
fun to
features.
watch.
Could you imagine the man? So technically, Poe and the Mandalorian, they exist in the same universe. They're both alive at this point.
Depends on how old Poe is. He might not be
Poe
born
is
yet.
supposed to be in his 30s, I believe.
So he would be a young.
He was
child,
around-
He
right?
would have been like a baby, I think.
He
Yeah.
would be like in his
So how old do you think the Mando is? He's 20, let's say 25, 30?
yeah.
I just figured it out. No. He is going to take off his helmet and he's going to marry that farm girl. Now she'll give birth to Poe Dameron.
Nope,
Boom.
because
Done.
nope,
I've sold. Ah.
we already know who his mother is. So
Wait, who's his mom?
Shara Bay.
Who's that?
She's a kick-ass pilot. She's in the comics.
Oh, that's
He
Ah.
actually
yes,
wears
yes, yes,
her
yes.
ring. I think he wears her ring in all the
Yeah.
movies. And everyone was like, oh, it means he's married. But no, it's his mother's ring that he wears.
Also, do you want to hear another cool fun fact?
Sure.
Apparently, Baby Yoda and Anakin Skywalker
Oh,
were
that's
born in
right.
the same year.
So that's the theory right now. So the ultra nerds have like gone and done math.
People are going far in this.
Coincidence, though? I think not.
Did they
I'm just
split the
kidding.
midichlorian count
Yeah,
or what?
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. My name's Anakin. You get half the good stuff. I'll take half the bad stuff. Speaking of Baby Yoda, Natalie, you had a hot take or / bold prediction specific to Baby Yoda, and I think it's that time where we talk about it.
This is tough.
Oh gosh, I said two things. Are you talking about the chip thing or the other thing?
The other
The
thing.
other thing. Oh, okay. I just predict they're gonna kill him. Something bad's gonna happen to him, and
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda, and we're all gonna, and then season 2.
Why? So, but why though? Why would they kill him?
Because the bounty hunters keep going after him, and eventually they're going to get him.
It's true.
Yeah. So if you just look at it, the cold hard logic, there's more of them. They're good at what they
keep
do.
coming. They don't know how many fobs were given out either.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. And actually, you had a theory on how they're tracking
Yeah,
Mr. Yoda.
I said that it's like lost pets here in LA. They put a chip in them, and then you just look for the chip, and then you find the animal. So I have a feeling that Yoda's been chipped or whatever,
Yep.
and that's how they're finding him. Because
Oh my god.
he went to this backwater planet. He's
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere, in a swamp, and they find him.
Mm.
And they didn't find our Yoda in Return of the Jedi living on Dagobah.
Mm.
But I don't think anyone was looking for him.
I don't know. I mean, but see,
Yeah.
they were looking for the Jedi, and
They
I
were
don't
looking for
think
Jedi,
at the
yeah.
end of Revenge of the Sith they confirmed one way or another Yoda was dead. They thought he was because his robe was found after his fight with the Emperor, but they never actually found a body.
Well, not only
Right.
that, but Yoda was
So-
so influential to like Ezra in Rebels and other Jedi. My God, there are so many Jedi that lived through the Purge.
Well, think about it though. The guy's
very
a big
annoying.
place.
It's very annoying.
It's a big place. It
Just
makes
wiped them
sense.
all out.
Yeah, but look how
Sadness
far
for
he went,
everyone.
and then he went to this other new planet, however many light years away, and they
Right.
still were able to find Yoda, Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
So
Plus the theory that Yoda went to this like highly force-sensitive planet to like hide himself, right?
yeah,
So if they were looking for him, like they might not have picked him up because he's on such a force-dense.
that it wouldn't pick up. The
Yeah, he wouldn't stand out really.
It wouldn't
like
pick up the
camouflage.
midichlorian count.
I think that's my theory on how they're tracking
or the
him.
pet chip.
or the pet chip.
Or both.
There
It's
you
a
go.
pet chip that is a midichlorian.
The other
Counter.
theory with the bounty fobs.
So people under like 200 don't get
yeah,
cut, or what?
exactly. It's like Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if you ever watched that, but it's just
His
like that.
power level is through the
Power
roof.
level is 1,000,000.
But the other theory with like the bounty fobs and everything is so in the very first episode he says it's like what the last 4 digits or something, and it's
Social Security.
yeah, it's his age. Well, it goes off, so it's looking for people age 50, and then we don't know what the other 2 numbers are.
Oh, variables.
You're right.
It's got to be age, height, and midichlorian count. Because there's only one creature in the world in the universe, and that's Baby Yoda, who matches all 3 of those things.
It could be. I mean,
Not tr- we don't know that. There could be Jedi
no,
out there.
that's true. That's true.
I mean, this is post Empire, so if there were Jedi doing
They're
whatever,
hiding very
Because
well.
at this point we know Ezra's still alive in the galaxy
Oh,
somewhere.
how old is Obi-Wan at that point?
Obi-Wan
Would he be
Kenobi?
in his 50s?
Well, he's dead though.
Oh yeah, he's dead, right?
Yeah, he's dead.
Well, he's a ghost.
Yeah, but Bob's not going to work on a dead
Wait,
guy.
but how do
don't
you
know
know?
that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't know.
I actually had to think. I was like, wait, What? When did this take place again? What year is it? Yeah. What year is this?
But we do know, yeah. So
We're
they're
getting an Obi-Wan show. He's alive somehow.
Exactly. That's all. It gets so confusing.
so Ezra's alive. Kanan's son is alive.
Kanan's son?
Remember, Kanan and Hera have a son. Oops, spoiler.
Wait, half human, half Twi'lek.
Yep.
What's that
Luke
even
is
look like?
alive. Leia's alive.
Luke is alive. Leia's alive. Kylo Ren, in theory, has been born.
We don't know.
Is that how you say that? Been born?
Well,
Been born.
I guess he would be a baby at that point.
And then Luke is
Right.
also getting other
All
Jedi
of his
for his.
Jedi, so the Knights of Ren would also
Yeah.
probably technically be
So we're
Poppin'.
So there's
Poppin'.
like 10, 15 Jedi running around in the universe.
that are
right
known.
now.
More than
that
that
are
are
known.
known.
It's probably
Yeah.
a couple. It's probably like 100 or so, really.
I'm sure I'm missing known
Because the
Jedi
Force is
too.
coming
Rey's,
back.
Rey's
Ahsoka?
parents.
Ahsoka's running
Yeah,
around.
whoever they
At
are.
least one of
Rey's,
them.
Rey's parents.
Sidious, because we see him in the trailer for episode.
He's dead. All right, get
we
over
don't
it.
know that.
He came back as a Sith ghost.
Oh
My
yeah.
theor-
If the good guys can do it, the bad guys.
I
can
don't see
do
why
it.
they can't.
Yeah, why not? Balanced
God.
in all
Interesting
things.
theory. Yeah.
No. All right, let's move this thing
Just
on.
No.
He's a ring
Let's
race.
move this thing on. So bold predictions. Natalie, you gave us your bold prediction. Baby Yoda / the child is gonna die.
Or something horrible. I feel bad. Something horrible is going to happen to him. I just have a feeling.
Just know if it does happen,
I have a theory on
I will
that.
call you and scream.
So after
I will just call you and be like,
Ah!
after the first 2 episodes,
Uh-huh.
I made the observation that we have this very innocent, highly force-sensitive guy
Right.
being exposed to a lot of violence. The Mandalorian is disintegrating people right in front of this very malleable, we assume.
Mandos are shooting left and right
Yeah.
and killing people in front of him.
I mean, that Baby Yoda is going dark side before he's 10 years old, in whatever
yeah.
time scale that he is. He's going to be the most powerful Sith we've ever seen.
wait,
That's
so-
the
wait.
bad thing.
Is that your bold prediction for the season, or you're just saying something?
No, my bold prediction for the season was...
He's just throwing that out there because that's
he's-
how he feels right
Alright.
now.
no, my bold prediction was we'll see the origins of the First Order
Gotcha.
before the end
gotcha.
of the season.
So, Krishna, for episode 4, you said your bold prediction was the Mandalorian will get injured and healed by Baby Yoda.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
That did not happen.
Yeah.
You're terrible at this game.
Oh! Or he gets really badly injured and Baby Yoda heals him. Cut to end of season 1.
Oh,
Because
that's how you
remember-
think. That's how you think it's gonna
No,
end.
because remember
Oh,
he
that's
wouldn't
right.
let him.
Yeah.
He kept thinking the baby was just playing, and so he
Yeah.
moved him, and the baby's actually trying to help.
I had another theory about that too. The Mandalorian is being force manipulated by Baby Yoda.
Oh, I don't think that.
Oh!
I don't think.
How long was the baby asleep after he used the Force? He couldn't have manipulated him to do any of this stuff during that point.
Yeah, we know
What about
that.
before though? Do you remember in the first scene when the Mando goes after he shot the IG droid? He goes to do this, play that little coochie coochie with the baby, and
Does
Yoda
the
raises
ET
his
thing?
hand. Yoda raises his hand in response. Right there, he's
They-
working on Mandalorian.
They
Boom.
did that, Christian. They did that for the the cinematography.
No, he's using
Oh,
the
that was
Force.
I just wanted to do ET. That's
It's a
That's it.
potential. It's a potential idea.
all right.
Oh, by the way, so
That is
my bold prediction for
I
episode
had a lot
4.
of predictions.
My bold prediction for episode 4 was Gina Carano is introduced and her character is a big talking point. Boom! I'm good at this game.
You stole that from Arjuna.
Nope.
You did.
Did I?
That was literally his for this episode 2, I think, or episode
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
And
But
you
I
stole
got
it.
it. I got it right. So I
Unbelievable.
win something. What do we win?
Not
That a
surprises.
hot woman in Star Wars who kicks ass is going to kick
Up
ass.
here.
That was
Yeah.
your
That
was
was
your
a bold
prediction.
prediction. Yep.
Okay then.
He's very.
But seriously, Natalie, what's your prediction for episode 5? What do you think is going to be the big thingamajiggy?
I almost want. I doubt it happened, but the daughter sneaks aboard the ship so she can be with the baby.
Whoa. I like that.
That
a
would
lot.
complicate
And then
life.
mom
Yeah.
hires Kara to take her to get it, and that's how they meet up again. And there's the big battle at the end with the stormtroopers because we know they're in it.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Um,
Wow.
Something happens to make them leave that planet
Yeah.
because Kara stays there,
Right.
and they follow him, and then they all meet up again and they're fighting.
I like that. That actually makes so much sense.
I keep forgetting the Death Troopers have been shown
They have where?
in the
in
original
the village or the
some
first
city.
scene.
Yeah, somewhere they're shown under the command of Gus Fried Chicken.
That's a trailer. That was in the trailer.
In the trailer,
Yeah. We haven't actually seen it yet.
We haven't seen it, but it's gonna happen.
Death Troopers are shown. Original TKs are shown, which is interesting. Not updated armor at all.
Interesting. Do you have a bold prediction
For episode 5?
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Giancarlo will eat some type of chicken.
You're stealing my. So I had a theory. I think for episdo 3.
Yep.
Where Giancarlo's character shows up and
Eats
as a
porg or something.
and and as a like a what do you call it?
Easter egg?
Like an Easter egg, or just as a celebration of his Breaking Bad days. They're gonna the first thing you see him, he's just eating some chicken or some kind of
thing
fried,
that looks like
you
a
know,
chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, we could eat a Ronto roaster or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
There you go.
And that's how it's gonna show up. It didn't happen, obviously, but now
I
you're
forgot
taking
he's
it.
still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, little bastard. He wanted to kill the baby, or he wanted to get the baby back. I don't like him now.
Wait, who?
Giancarlo's character.
Yeah. Yep.
not that
What's that meme? You know, I just met this baby, but I will die for this baby.
Oh my God, that's everywhere. We've had people who don't even like Star Wars say that.
But he's so cute, especially
That's
his little
that's
ears.
how crazy it is.
That's bizarre. I mean, that's
So
social
cute.
for you.
Yeah.
Like the impact is kind of scary.
Yeah.
What's your bold prediction?
My bold prediction is Baby Yoda is mortally wounded in the next episode.
That's how it ends.
Would he be yodely?
He'll be He'll be.
Wow.
Wait, please say that in a clear voice so they can all hear what you just said. Oh, she can't. She's incapable.
Would he be?
Say it.
Oh my God.
She'll be more. Oh God. Anyway, that's my prediction.
That's a good
my
prediction. Great
Yeah.
prediction.
He's not mortal.
He's not-
So he'd be
Oh, God.
Yodely wounded.
yodely wounded.
Yodely wounded.
Yodely wounded.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Oh Lord.
I'm allowed a pun every now and again. Okay.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Everyone's allowed at least one pun. The last thing I want to
Oh,
make.
the ice cream maker too. That was a pun.
That was.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Carrying, what was it, like his
Oh, the
Beskar.
Beskars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beskars. One last thing I want to make on the social media front with Baby Yoda. They did a social media poll and pull some analytics and stuff to kind of see what's trending on the internet. And they compared it to the 2020 candidates for president.
Oh, I
What?
thought it was gonna be on the impeachment. Like,
Oh, that
what
would've
was
been-
more popular, Baby Yoda or
Oh.
impeachment?
I think impeachment,
Boy.
thankfully, was actually trending higher on Twitter.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
But
good.
when you compare Baby Yoda as a whole between November 12th to November 25th, so that's the last, I believe, that's all the episodes.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda is trending way higher in terms of interactions on Facebook and Twitter. I'm not sure in terms of how they have these numbers, but we're talking Baby Yoda interaction rate, I guess, at 1,600. The next presidential candidate is Bernie Sanders at 850.
Whoa.
So
Alright,
almost
here's-
twice as much interest in Baby Yoda than any presidential candidate. And this was done just in the United States.
So
you-
one wonders if he includes Baby Yoda in his campaign.
That's what I'm saying. If Baby
His
Yoda
power
ran,
would double.
if he ran for president, he would unite the entire base.
He would.
Instead of
Potentially,
fragmenting
yeah.
them off into these
Everyone's like,
candidates.
it's the baby.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Like the
Should be a Black Mirror episode.
I don't know who D. Patrick is. He's at 134.
D. Patrick.
Wow.
No, I don't know who that
Yeah,
is
it's pretty
either.
bad.
D.
Pretty
Patrick.
bad. I actually don't know. Like, I'm a
Duval
terrible.
Patrick? Duval Patrick?
Oh, Biden's running? I didn't know Biden was running.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Did I?
Yes.
See,
He
I
said some interesting things that knocked him down in the polls a bit.
Yeah.
the
Biden.
one guy that's interesting was it
So.
Andrew
Warren's ahead of
Yang.
him.
He's interesting, but he's not. I mean,
He's not gonna win.
Well, he's at 402.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda is
Kicking his
destroying
ass.
him.
Yeah.
Almost
Andrew,
like
yeah. Where's Elizabeth Warren?
Elizabeth Warren.
Should be second, I would think.
She's above Bernie. I'm almost positive in the polls.
Nope.
No?
496 in terms of interaction rate on Facebook. and
Oh, I
Twitter.
just meant in the
Wow.
polls.
Oh, in the polls, I have
Oh,
no idea.
yeah, yeah.
Do those things even count anymore?
Yeah, well, the next primary's coming up, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Guys, I
anyway.
think it's that time.
We're
Oh,
going
no.
to politics. We must stop.
Yeah.
I think it's the time
abort.
where we kind of ask that question. So, Natalie, you're the guest, so I'll ask you first.
Mm.
Natalie, was The Mandalorian Episode 4 good?
Yes.
Nice.
Now you get to
have
ask
to-
first.
you have to
Straight
ask
into the
me.
point.
Yeah.
Krishna, was The Mandalorian episode 4 good?
It was good. Yes, it was. Ravi, was Mandalorian episode 4? What's it called again? The
Sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
Good.
I want to say no just to be different, but I have to say yes because it was good.
There you go. Boom.
I think that's going to do it for us here on Was It Good? You can find us on Twitter at Was It Good. Yeah, that's it, right?
That's
yeah.
at Was It
Yeah,
Good.
that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Was It
yeah.
Good?
At Was It Good. You can find us on Instagram at Was It Good BTM, on Twitch at Was It Good. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week, same time, for episode 5 of The Mandalorian.
Ooh.
Dun,
And
dun,
hopefully Arjuna is back.
But I don't think he is.
Is he not?
I
If
don't
he's
think
gone
so.
for 10 days, it hasn't
Yeah.
been 10 days by that date.
Right.
Well, if you're listening and you want to be on a podcast, we are accepting applications. Please hit us up on Twitter at Was It Good. Thank you. All right, we're done
Oh,
with the
man.
recording.
That was great. We're still live.
We're still live.
You
Nothing
can't
too
turn
crazy.
it
So
Good
off.
stuff.
I think we can kill it on the live too.
Yeah?
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.